Hey, this is Izzy with Rolling Virtual Cards coming at you with another Magic the Gathering video. This one is about how to build a commander deck, or at least how I build commander decks personally. The last one was about like the tier lists and commander and levels and how you should build them based off that. This is just a general idea and concept. So let's take a look at exactly how I design my Magic decks using a commander that I know fondly. So Saskia, the Unyielding. This is my first commander I ever built. I still have it built to this day. I've built it 101 different ways, I swear. And I follow specific rules when building a deck. And you can follow these rules regardless of the restrictions you set forth for yourself for this type of stuff, okay? What I mean by that is simply like you can restrict yourself to only creatures or to a tribe and still hit this point. Saskia the Unyielding is a black, a red, a green, and a white for a 3/4 legendary creature human soldier with vigilance and haste, and the following effects. As Saskia the Unyielding enters the battlefield, choose a player. When a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, it deals that much damage to the chosen player. So, simply put, when Saskia hits the field, you target an opponent, probably the opponent who's playing like a lot of creatures or pillow fort effects that stop you from hitting them. And now you can hit the guy who's open to deal damage to the other character. Common things to note: doubling damage in Saskia is gross, because if you hit the player you targeted, the first one is a ×6 and the second double damage is a ×20. The math on this does check out. If you deal 1 damage, it doubles to 2. Saskia's effect doubles that to... There's my cat. Doubles it to 2, so then you'll deal 4 damage to your opponent, or 2 damage to your opponent, which doubles to 4. So that's a total of 6 damage. And if you double it all up again with a second doubler, it gets to 20. Which is insane amount of damage there, okay? So what you want to look for in a deck, I call it the 30-30 or 33-33-33. You can adjust these based off the deck, your play style, how everything works. But the way I make it work is 33 lands, 33 of what your deck wants to do. If you're running like tribal, you want 33 of those tribal cards. And then the last 33 is a mixture of draw, interaction, and mana advantage. So ramp. These are what you're aiming for to try to have everything kind of just flow together properly. I try to do like 11 draw or card advantage, 11 ramp, mana advantage, and 11 removal or interaction cards. Giving you a nice overall how decks can kind of function together and make it all work. So for something with Saskia, if we were to follow this to a T, I am going to just add the quick package here of basic lands. There's 37, which is always a little bit more than I like. Let's switch this to the visual grid and sort by mana cost. So I like to drop this down. There's some cards here that I don't really care for. Sometimes we'll see. Yeah, the ones that come in tapped, I don't really come in tapped and don't do anything aren't my favorite. The three ones are okay. I can deal with that. And you can do this without, like, at any level of play, what you should run, what you shouldn't run. All that's kind of up to you. But if we're just gonna make this simple, what lands you play is, again, totally up to what you have at your disposal, or what you want to bring. to the table. If you want to spend more money on a deck, go right ahead. You can definitely do that and put as much as you want to in a deck. But there we go. That gives us 33 lands. Now 33 lands is a third of your deck. What that means is that a third of the time you're going to draw a land. So in your starting hand, on a normal basis, with 7 cards in your starting hand, you should see at least 2 lands. And with at least 2 lands, this means ramp that is turn 1 ramp or turn 2 ramp is very good. Turn 1 not doing anything in most casual or intermediate combat or commander games is fine. But turn 2, making sure you have that ramp or some type of card on the field, card advantage piece, is great. That's exactly what you're looking for in a deck, regardless of what you're actually playing. So, yes, this is slower, but as long as you have 2 drops, you can make the deck work pretty well. So, where do we go from here? That's where we need to figure out where we want to go. What I mean is, like, do we want to work on the 33 of the main deck, like the concept, or 33 of the other cards and get that out of the way? So for me, let's do the fun part. Let's do the 33 of the main deck, what we're looking for. One of which is going to be creatures and buffing those creatures. But there's also a few cards with Saskia that are just kind of good, and you can find those if you don't know them already at EDH Rec. If you just go and look up Saskia the Unyielding, you're going to see the new cards that work pretty well with her, and you're going to see top cards for her, and you're going to see like creatures and everything here, just to see what works best with Saskia. She is in great colors to do an Enchantress deck. There's a lot of ways you can build Saskia as a 4-color deck. But what we'll do is we're going to go and try to just make this more of a generic, this is good for Saskia. So first off, we'll search double damage. You don't want too many of these unless they're on a creature, like Gisela. This is a fantastic card, doubling the damage and being a creature. And it has to be combat damage. And there's a lot of them, as you can see. You've got stuff like Dictative Erebors. If a source would deal damage to a permanent player, it deals double that damage. Gratuitous Violence. If a creature you control would deal damage to a creature or player, it deals double that damage to the creature or player instead. Here's another creature that does it. If a source would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage to the permanent player instead. Here's Rapids. If a source would deal damage to a creature player, it does double the damage. This is a single turn of double damage as a sorcery speed. Fury doesn't do it. That's for 1/1 counters. This is double damage for odd. Saskia is an even, so it doesn't always work with her. But yeah, like there's a lot of different creatures nowadays that does help with that like double damage. Which is cool. The creatures are always the best in Saskia because they're going to help deal that damage. This one's only a 4-drop to do it, whereas this one's 5 with flash, which is nice. This one's 5. Does take 3 red, which I don't love in a deck like this necessarily. But what they have done is they did release a few cards that do triple damage. So, if a source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals triple that damage to that permanent or player instead. If a source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals triple that damage instead with Convoke. Damage can't be prevented this turn. If a source you control would deal damage to your player, it deals triple that damage with a flashback effect. I'm going to say no to that one right now. But I think this, if you go back to the deck, hits home on that. Like, that's 4 ways to end the game. Just like massive amount of damage to 1 player or to 2 players. I'm going to hit you for like 5. It's going to double to 10. They're going to take 20 damage. Pretty useful in my opinion. So there's that. But we're still trying to get to 33 here. So, what we're going to look at Saskia. We're going to look at Saskia and we're going to go, okay, we want evasive creatures that can deal a lot of damage and ways to make our creatures get in. So, having my creatures have flying or trample. Creatures you control. We'll do that. See if anything good comes up with that. We'll just try. Am I spelling like flying wrong, right? No? There we go. Okay, here's one. Creatures you control gain flying, vigilance, and double strike to other turn. That's a great way to end the game. And if you're looking, see something like this. Whenever one or more creatures with power 2 or less into the battlefield under control, draw a card. This ability triggers once each turn. That's great, because you're probably going to run a lot of small creatures that give you good effects. Creatures you control gain indestructible in a turn. That's perfect for protection. Works with something like this. Shalai gives everything hexproof, which is great, and has flying itself. Something with Elspeth is going to be useful sometimes. I've ran it in other decks before. It kind of hits that like destroy all creatures. Yeah, it's useful. This card is fantastic. It's expensive, meaning we're going to really want to focus on that ramp. But it does help us get another combat step, which can help us win. Something like Windborn Muse is a 2/3. It's useful. And it gives us this advantage of, like, they can't attack us back. I love Odric in this deck. Lynn Archmarshal. And the reason why is because Saskia has Vigilance and Haste. So this is going to give everyone Vigilance and Haste. Stacks pieces are really good in Saskia. They give you Temple against your opponent and allow you to really push home that state of like control, but you want stacks pieces that can also hit them, so something like this. Now, Akrama's Memorial is really nice because it is a 7-drop, but creatures you control gain flying, first strike, vigilance, trample, haste, and protection from red. This is going to also help you push forward. Same thing with something like an Eldrazi Monument. Now, you have to sacrifice stuff with Eldrazi Monument, unfortunately. So I think Akama's Monument kind of helps with the push more. Something like Drumbeller is cool. Untap all creatures you control during each other player's untap step. It's a 2/1. And so if you're running creature ramp, that can be useful. So you can kind of interact with your opponent. Again, keeping track, that's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We're at 14 here. Just kind of looking at that, like, creatures with flying. So, like, just looking for some, like, nice... Like, Drawn in Linvala does the same thing as Linvala here. But it's also going to give you that nice other activated ability. Plus, it has vigilance instead of just flying. I think both are useful in this type of deck. This is cool, but it's only non-black creatures you control get the buff. Although its effect is very useful. I don't like the 3 green, though. You don't want to run too many heavily expensive cards. That's cool. Buffing all my other creatures, actually. I'm not against that. This is actually an interesting one, because when it attacks, other attacking creatures are going to get the buff, allowing you to swing wide. What does melee do again? Whenever this creature attacks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each opponent you attacked this combat. That's useful. That's very useful in this type of deck. That's going to mean all my creatures, as long as I'm attacking all 3 opponents, they're going to get +3/+3. Which is useful. That's 5. I don't love it. It's not awful though, weirdly enough. I mean, it comes in either with either as a 4/3 or with 2/1/1 or 2/2/2s with flying vigilance and lifelink. And lifelink works very well in Saskia because the creature's doing the damage. So if you were to deal 3 damage with Angel of Invention, you'll deal the 3 damage to them and then 3 damage to the other person, gaining 6 life. Where are we at now? 8 or 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, that's not bad. Ravos was in the original deck, and it's fantastic in this deck. Buffing your stuff and returning things is just absolutely great. This is another one I absolutely love. It costs 1 less for each creature card in your party. Party being cleric, warrior, rogue, and wizard, and you're bound to have some of those. My cat is being a spaz today. I'm not sure why. She's having fun though. A Thopter Engineer is another one I love. When it enters the battle, wait, is this the right one? No, that's not the right one. I'm thinking about a different one. We can keep going here, just taking a look. See if there's anything that's any other ones that have good effects and stuff. We're just kind of scanning for cards that fit Saskia theme. And if you were doing a theme like Angels, Saskia Angels, you'd run 33 Angels, right? But that's where I could have built this deck prior to this video and shown it off, but I thought showing you how the deck process kind of works is an interesting idea. You're just kind of looking for cards that are good, and eventually, I get to a point where I'm just I think these cards are starting to get less good. I'm not going to bother checking the 92 other cards. Let's go back to the top and see what else we can find. When you do stuff like this, you will eventually find interesting cards, and you can take a look at EDH Rec to see if there's any other interest cards. Monarch's great. Something like this card at the beginning of your upkeep, create a 3/1 red knight creature token. Then if you're the Monarch, Court of Embers, deal X damage to each opponent where X is the number of creatures you control. That's really strong, honestly. I'd probably run it in this deck. Both of these are also really strong in this deck. Both giving great advantage. Because when it attacks, you get to enchant something. They get +1/+1 for each enchantment. But I'm not running enough enchantments, I think, to really push home that concept. We'll get to the lands. We'll get to the ramp eventually here. And I'll explain stuff. I'll go into other videos where I explain ramp and stuff like that. But let's see. We're at 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. We just need a few more cards that kind of fit Saskia. And what I'm thinking is probably like, we're at 21, we need like a few more. Something that fits the idea of Saskia is probably a way to give stuff haste, because you kind of want to be aggressive. Have haste. That'll give people like oh, I put it in type. That would explain the issue I had. There we go. Anger in the graveyard's always decent in a deck like this. There we go. Whip of Erebos. Giving everything lifelink is going to give you accent on a life gain, which is really useful. I don't love Concordant Crossroads in a deck like this because unfortunately it's like going to give opponents haste, and I don't want that. I'm looking for cards that do a little bit more than just that. This is interesting, but it's only target creature gets +2/+2. I don't like sacrificing my lands. This one's not bad. Creatures you control have haste, and then legendary creatures you control get +1/+0, which is cool because you're running a handful of legendaries. And that extra damage with Saskia is going to be 2 damage overall, and with double damage, it's going to get bigger and bigger. Samut's interesting with the untap ability, but having all these cool extra like effects and giving everyone haste is really useful. This is interesting too. Giving other creatures you control trample gives them more evasion, even with just flying. And this is when a non-token creature enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on it. It gains haste until end of turn. That's useful. So that's going to be 22, 23, 24. So we're at 24 here. Let's see. Garna is interesting because it's a great way like just to hold up mana. When you already have a good board state, you can just say, I'm just going to attack and hold up Garna. If someone board wipes, I'll return them all to my hand. And then it gives them all haste so you can rebuild the board. Haste is also useful for mana dorks, and we'll get to that in a bit here. But we are looking for a few different guys here. My current Saskia deck is, which I'll show off at some point. Either I'll put it on here or I'll make like an actual video showing. I'll point the thing and show my physical deck. It's all legendaries, so it runs all legendaries. Oh, this card's great. Creatures you control get +1/+0 and have haste. At the beginning of your end step, exile any number of non-token artifacts under creatures you control. Return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control at the beginning of your next upkeep. This just hides your creatures. Just hides them. Which is great. I absolutely love hiding creatures. Where are we at now? 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. That's not bad. That's 28. That looks like all the ones I care about. Let's see if we can find some like decent token generations, or I mean extra combat can also help you win, but creatures, game. We're gonna see if we can find stuff that gives you like creatures gain plus something plus something. The Great Hinge is a fantastic card, but I'll show you that off later. Greater for Behemoth is obviously, and same with Final Alley of Devastation are both great to just win the game. They definitely are. I don't like to run tutors, so I don't tend to run that. It's the same thing with like overwhelming update. Until the turn, creatures gain trample and get plus X, where X is the greatest power among creatures. And Triumph the Horn does the same thing with Infect. Trample and Infect. So this just can win you the game. Same thing with this. Because they get plus X, X is the greatest power among creatures you control. Which, if it's just Saskia, that's still just +3/+3. Which is why I don't actually preferably love it. You need to have a not Saskia on the field or buff Saskia. +3/+3 is not enough to win the game usually. Which is why I'm not a huge fan of Overrun. But it's Triumph of the Horde is definitely enough. Because you only need to get to that 10 damage. But yeah, so if you keep looking this might only be a +3/+3. But it's constant, which is what I love about it. But if you look at something like, this is another one, put a 1/1 counter on each creature control they gain Vigilance, Trample, and Indestructible. That's a great way to push damage out. Let's see, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. 2 more cards here, guys. And to be honest, when you build a deck like this, there are so many other cards. You could just go, oh, I like this card in this deck. Actually, I didn't prefer that card. Let's run this card. Right? Like, there's just so many different ones that you can run that just, like, different themes you can run with Saskia. This deck is really wide open to the masses on how you want to build it, which maybe it's not the best one to show off in that case, but it is one that I really do know and quite enjoy. There's got to be one more that just kind of screams. This is like a good. It didn't pop up. Oh, actually, I know what I'll do. I think that's how you spell change it. I know who I'll run. I'll just toss in the Mirror Entity. Such a great card to push people to the max. So now you're looking at 33. 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, that's only 32. I need one more. That's my bad. I'll run the other one then. I think it's a +5/+5. Yeah. Beastmaster Ascension does exactly what you need it to do. So that gives you a lot of leeway there. So there's 33. So you have 67 because it's 33, 33 in your commander. So now the last is going to be the rest of the deck. And so what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to run ramp. So easiest way to do ramp is greater than 0 EDH rank. Because ramp is one of the most things that are ran. So we're looking for 11 card draw or card advantage, 11 mana advantage or ramp, and 11 interaction. So Soaring is great, Arcane Signet is great because attached for any color in this multicolor deck. You're looking at like Swords to Plowshares as a interaction. Anti-interaction also works, but not as well. Something like Swift Boots and Lightning Reeves. It's where you can run it because it does stop them from targeting your stuff, meaning they'll target your opponent's stuff instead. And in something like this, it's okay to have Saskia die because you can just target someone else when you recast it. So I'd rather run more ramp in that regard. In this multiple colored deck, having something like Cultivate and Kodama's Reach, Farseek, and Rampant Growth all really help fix your mana color. Same with the Fallow Stone. Beast Within is a great removal, but it's 3-drop, and I don't want to run the 3-drop. I want to be able to cast a lot of cards in Saskia and still be able to interact. So something like Path to Exile does this. Commander Sphere taps for any color and can draw you a card later on. Blasphemous Act, some of your interaction should be board wipes. In Saskia, you're running a lot of creatures and you don't really want to board wipe, but if you're too far back or can make them indestructible, you're pretty good there. Nature's Lore, there's the thing, you grab a forest from your deck. So with Nature's Lore, it's interesting, if you have a better land base, you can grab a forest. I'm not running the better land based, and since it's a 4-color deck, I'm going to avoid that. Something like Solemn Simulacrum does a lot in this deck actually, because it does ramp you and it draws you a card when it dies, but it's also a body that you can start swinging at people, which is useful. Heroic Intervention is just a great interactive card that you can do in response to a board wipe. Smothering Tides is great in this deck because you are going to get a lot of value out of that mana. Same things with something like Birds. So the difference between something like Birds and Llanoware is Llanoware, again, doesn't mana fix you, whereas Birds is mana fixing you. Wafer Bobble is mana fixing, which is great. Same thing with like Tribal. So if you look, you can't really see it here, so you kind of have to keep track of where you are at. So you're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm at 12, which is fine. I think that's perfectly fine. Probably because, and this is where everything comes together. I mean, I'll try to make it perfect for you guys so you understand the concept. Double check it. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, I'm going to drop Smothering Tides in that case because it's a little expensive. The rest of mine are all 2. I have 1 3-drop, a 3 and a 4. But a lot of it's 2, allowing me to like kind of get to that point a little faster for ramping and stuff. And then where am I at for interaction? I've got 1, Swords is 1, Path is 2, a 3, let's see, there's 3, there's 4, okay, 4, let's find a few more, 4, oh, you gotta try, let's drop Wafer as we keep trying, 4, let's go 5, 6, yeah, I'm okay with that. I prefer instant speed. So where's the 6 here? Okay, there we go. That's a great 6, 7. That's a creature that does it. 8. I don't really like the free stuff in most things unless I'm running competitive. 8. Let's see, that's 8, and then 9. 10. That's 10. There's an 11. Then we get 1 more interacting speed. 11. We'll go for another board wipe with 12. That gives a lot of choice with that board wipe, so that's useful. So there's 12. Oh no, I only needed 11. My bad. Where was that one? Yeah, 11. Yeah, you can't see all. So then the last thing you need is draw. So we'll go back to deck. Yep, you need 11 more cards to finish the deck up. And so here, we're just going to go to here, and we're going to go draw creature. Because your most your stuff is creatures. That's like your heavy part. You're running 27 creatures, which is higher than any of the other stuff other than lands. But there are a handful of ones you can run. Esper Sentinel is great for drawing cards. Beast Whisperer is fantastic because it's creature. The Great Hingin's great. It's going to cost 3 less with Saskia, so that's good. Shamanic Revelations, with how many creatures are you running to 1? That's great. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 with Guardian Project. 6 with Toski. Here's a 7th. It's going to draw you a card, and you're going to be able to make ramp, and you're going to be able to get creatures. So that was how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You've got better choices than Minter or the Meek in this deck. So we're going to go 7. We'll go 8 with this because it's also ramp, which is useful. I think this is great draw in your deck. 9, 10. It's expensive but useful. 11. And that's 11 actually. So, I got 1 too many draw cards. No worries. I'll remove 1 draw card here. Probably this one. There we go. So now we're at 11 ramp, 11 card draw, and 11 removal or interaction. On top of that, we are at a nice 33 creatures, or 33 cards that like Saskia, that interact with him in some way, shape, or form, either as protection, with good ways, with evasion, to hit people, so you can always be hitting who you need to hit to deal that damage, quick ways to do it, ways to force stuff to trade off, lots of different things here. Again, this isn't the perfect deck. There are other cards that I've probably missed that you can point out and find. Like, I've already thought of one that's, it's a first strike death touch thing. Ankle Shanker. When it attacks, creatures you control gain first strike and death touch until end of turn. Which is insane in a deck like this, giving everything first strike and death touch. Because that's going to kill so many people. So you can go back and you can just remove a card like, sure, this one gives death touch, but the other one gives death touch and first strike, which is going to be even better. So like, there's a lot of cards like that. These are the ones I found that I enjoyed what I read, and this deck is going to work fine. Okay, but yeah, in the long run, that's kind of what I do. I look for that. It's like TLDR. Again, to reiterate, it's choose your commander, 33 lands, then look for 33 cards that work with the commander. If you can literally find any commander, you can go here and you can do. I think does this still do random? No, but we can just go top commanders. So something like Dragon, you're looking for 33 dragons. Something like Lithril, you're looking for 33 elves. Yuriko, a combination of 33 high CMC cards and 33 ninjas. Wilhelm, 33 zombies. Ishin, 33 cards that have attack triggers. Theoden. Kindreth is a weird one because it's such an overall thing. It's 33 cards that work with his abilities, to be fair. Edgar, 33 cheap vampires. Miram, 33 dragons again. Atraxa, 33 things that like to be proliferated. 33 things that involve counters. Prosper, 33 things that cast stuff from your exile. Or put stuff into exile and let you cast them. Kranko's 33 goblins. Shuriko's 33 vehicles. The list goes on and on, you know. 33 cards that puts, self-mill cards. 33 legendaries, 33 Angels, Demon, Dragons, 33 legendaries, 33 sack outlets, or recursion stuff, 33 shrines. You do not actually have 33 shrines, but you can try your hardest by running copy stuff. That's the idea. That is what you're looking for that. Then afterwards, you hit that very nice 11 ramp, 11 card draw, 11 interaction. The best decks are the decks where that 33 adds on to the other 11. It's why Elf Ball works so well, because yes, you have 11 ramp, but almost every single elf is a ramp spell, or at least a majority of them are. So you don't just have 11 ramp, you have like 22 ramp. Or, because your 33 has ramp, you can take that extra ramp you would have added, remove it, and add more interaction or more card draw, because you didn't need it because your other cards had that. When building Saskia here, I really pushed that concept of, hey, let's build this deck where 33 of the cards fit Saskia's theme. But what you can do instead is you can look at Saskia's theme, choose the thing that's the best out of it, a few win cons, double damage, triple damage with Saskia. Triple damage is insane because 1 damage turns into 3, and then when you hit them with the 3, that's going to turn into 9. So you're dealing 3 damage to one person and 9 damage to another. And if you hit the same person, that 1 turns into 3, and the 3, you're going to hit them again, that 3's 9. So you're dealing a total of 12 damage to them. So 3 times 3 is 12 times damage. So like 24 for 2 damage. Like, absolutely insane numbers there that are really is gonna help push you. You can find those few explosive cards, and the rest of that 33 just double the cards. 33 ramp, 33 card draw, 22 ramp, 22 card draw, and 22 interaction. If you make a deck like that, you're all of a sudden making a high power deck. Because you're gonna, the cards that synergize with Saskia or with your commander are doing that. Stuff like in Miriam's Sentinel Worm, the dragons that give you card draw or give you ramp or give you interaction make the deck even better. Because now when you're casting it, it's not just here's my big dragon that all it does is a dragon. It's this dragon gives me advantage in some way, shape, or form. Prosper Tomebound does this in a simple concept with the cards you are using to exile and cast, it's card advantage. And then he's producing the mana advantage. So your 33 is card advantage and mana advantage. So you're running 22, like, you're running like the 22 card advantage, if not more. Like, the 33 is just card advantage, and your win con is gonna be you select cards or combo pieces that help you win. Goblins, if you run more goblins that deal combat, or that deal damage to creatures or destroy stuff, you're getting more card removal with Franco, but still having the goblins to get his effect off. That's the idea. That is what you're looking for. It's why Trax is such a strong commander. When you build it Super Friends, your planeswalkers all have interaction, card draw, and removal. That's the idea. That's what you're after. You're after trying to just balance your deck out. But I'll go into more of what consists of draw, what consists of ramp, and what consists of interaction in later videos. For now, if you have any questions, please ask them down in the doobly-doo, and I will respond, because I like responding to people. If it's a good enough question, maybe I'll make a video on it. Until then, you're all lovely. Have an amazing day. Peace.